Morning. Welcome to the January 21st, 2025 Albany County Commissioners meeting. And I would like to call the meeting to order. And Commissioner Gozar.
Here.
Commissioner, I was going to say Thad.
Here.
And Commissioner Jones present. Can you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3 is we have a public hearing, amendments to the fiscal year 2024-2025 Albany County budget. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the amendments to the fiscal year 2024-2025 Albany County budget? Okay. I don't see anyone online. No one in here. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Do we have any comments from the public today? Anyone online have any comments from the public today? Hearing none, I'd like to close the comments from the public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Aye. Close. Any disclosures this morning, commissioners?
None for me. None.
None for myself. Item 6, considerations of changes on the agenda.
Oh my gosh. I forgot to add approved payroll and vouchers for January 2024. So if we could just amend the agenda on 22 to add payroll. I don't know why I didn't catch that when I trooped it on Friday, but that's all I got.
That was for 2024?
Or 2025.
2025, okay.
2025, it
I-
does, doesn't it? No, it doesn't.
I thought you said
Okay.
24, so that's.
I think I said 2024. I meant 2025. Thank you.
It's still hard to get used to
I
saying
know,
that.
I'm still not there.
May I have a motion for that?
I move that we, close close for the change. of the
So,
agenda.
can we get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 8 of the regular agenda, discuss additional financial support for the Pilot Hill Trailhead project. Sarah Brown Matthews, Pilot Hill Incorporated in Bailey. Welcome, Sarah.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your time this morning. I'm here on behalf of the Pilot Hill Board of Directors to visit with you about the Pilot Hill Trailhead project, which will be built on the east end of Willett Drive in the city of Laramie, Albany County. When we went out to bid with this project, as you'll recall, we came to the County Commissioners for permission to put out the bids for construction. When we went out to bid and opened those bid offerings, we had 2 companies, both Wyoming companies, that put in bids. Both of them were above the $2 million budget that we had set for this project, and bringing the entire budget for the Pilot Hill project to close to $3 million. We are coming to you this morning because we need to bridge the funding between what we've secured to date, which is 1.75 million, to make up the changes in costs of construction. And we're asking the Albany County Commissioners to consider a contribution of $400,000 to this project. We're also reaching out to our other key partners. We've had conversations with the city of Laramie and will be going before City Council on February 3rd to request funding for $200,000. We have a rec mill grant application submitted with the hopes that $100,000 might be available to us through the rec mill. And we're also going before the UW Board of Trustees to ask for funding for the landscaping, specifically for the project out of the university's campus beautification fund, which is another $194,000. That bridges the majority of the gap. There is still a $75,000 amount of money that will need to be raised. We have multiple grants that we're considering and other community partners that will be approaching for those funds, but we're asking the Albany County Commissioners to come to the table with a significant piece of this, which we feel will not only help us really bridge the gap, but also be a testament to these other funders that the community really wants this project and that everyone is coming to the table. I'll turn it over to Bailey and to talk about where these funds might come from in your budgets. But before I do that, do you have questions that I might be able to answer? I did provide a cut sheet for you just to give you a sense of the costs that we've already incurred on this, about $200,000, plus the donated services of a full-time construction manager who is a UW employee. And then also broke out for you basic construction budget line items, the additional items that we're owner furnishing and will be buying with part of the funding that we have secured. And then at the bottom, again, a summary of the construction financing proposal that we're moving forward with.
Yeah, Sarah, real quick question. If none of us, city council, rec mill, UW trustees, if we're not able to come to the table with the amounts required or asked for, what do you do then?
Yeah, thank you, Pete. Commissioner Gosar, absolutely. We, as a board of directors, last week discussed different options for phasing the project. We do want to still go ahead and ask for your permission to enter into contract with the lowest bidder. And we would phase a number of things, pushing the landscaping out a year, pushing out the fencing that's required by the city of Laramie, pushing out the posts for the lighting in the parking lot. I think there are two other items on our list. The biggest concern that we have with delaying any of these items is that we know the costs are going to continue to go up. One of the considerations that we had was to not install the shelter, just put in the footings during the construction phase, but we know from the manufacturer that the cost on that will go up $200,000 if we have to push it out to 2026. So our goal is to try to bridge the funding that we need this year to go into full construction in May and not have any delayed pieces to this because of the increasing costs.
And then just the follow-up question, have you had a sense of this council, city council, the rec board and the UW trustees, what their capacity and interest in that project was?
Thank you for asking. Yes, I did meet with Janine Jordan and Todd Fieser, as well as the mayor and vice mayor of the city council. They feel like they have funding pools that they can allocate to this. They, of course, have to have city council votes, so none of this is set in stone. Bill Mai, who's vice president of the university construction and facilities, is taking this proposal to the board of trustees. There is a fund at the University of Wyoming Foundation for beautification, and the funding is available. We've also checked the legal aspects of that to make sure that it is appropriate to invest it in the Pilot Hill project and the trailhead itself, because it's on their specific land. I feel good about that ask as well. But of course, it has to go to the board of trustees for approval. As far as the rec mill grant goes, that's our first request through the county for rec mill funding. We have asked for money through the rec mill grant through the city for small bits and pieces. They helped with about $60,000 over a 5-year period for things like developing the site plan and some trail construction. I don't know what the mill is going to come in, of course, and we don't know how the rec board will feel about that, but this is utilized heavily by the school district and by students and by the broader community. And so we're hopeful that they would award that $100,000. Again, all of these are pending some sort of governing board approval. And we also are looking at other grants and private funders that we're reaching out to continue to fundraise for this. We're not putting all of our eggs in just one basket.
And then the final question, would it be helpful to you if we made our funding contingent on the other ones coming to the table to try to be helpful to push that along?
To be honest, Pete, I don't believe it would be helpful to us. Sometimes I think that's helpful to have that to say, we'll get this money if you can come to the table as well. I feel like what it would do is give us the flexibility to really look carefully at the items that we would defer and make sure that we're doing it strategically so that we aren't having to incur major additional costs in the long run. My biggest fear, quite frankly, is just how much the costs of aggregate, the costs of concrete, the costs of the fencing materials, some of the basic things are going up. And I would feel like that would be a more beneficial opportunity for our board to really then look at what can we defer without having to continue to fundraise for increasing costs as well as the costs that are currently in our budget.
Yeah, the only reason I mentioned that is of those entities listed, we are the most austere. We don't have an 800 million endowment like the university would have. And the ask is bigger for us. And so my hope is they'll write the check. And
I think those are valid points. Commissioner Gosar, thank you for pointing that out. I think the other piece of this that we feel strongly about, the county holds the leases on this property and the county charged the Pilot Hill Oversight Committee with figuring out a way to secure the land and developing the infrastructure. And so we really feel like we've been strong. Our strongest partner has been the county, and we appreciate that. We really haven't come to the county annually for requests for operating expenses. We have come to the county for some community partner funds. Last year, $20,000 was awarded. This is a one-time ask, and you're right. The University of Wyoming Foundation does have much deeper pockets than probably anyone else in town. Unfortunately, because it's going to foundation funds, those monies have to be earmarked to specific goals. As you know, in a nonprofit, you have a donor that would set up a fund specifically for scholarships or for medical training or whatever their philanthropic goal might be. I honestly was not thinking specifically about targeting the University of Wyoming Foundation when we approached the university, because in past conversations, we've talked about the fact that we really would have to work with them to find donors that would come to the table to create a fund to support Pilot Hill, so that those monies would be earmarked. This beautification fund is a little bit different because the university has a little bit of flexibility in utilizing it for landscaping and similar projects for beautification of university properties.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
And Sarah and I spoke last week about this is just a hard project to quantify. You don't know who's going to use it, how they're going to use it, and what kind of economic or social benefit you actually reap from whether it's a draw to bring more people to town, whether it's economic development, whether it's just an influx of tourism. It's just hard to quantify. And that's, the county's obviously got it. The county obviously needs to support it. I don't know, 400K, I'm the new guy on the block. I don't know what Bailey's gonna tell us, but
When she's gonna get her magic wand.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, and Commissioner Hoff, you make a really good point. We did have a economic analysis done, and the projection is a $5 million increase in tax revenue for the city and the county annually with this. We do also have trail counters on the property. We know that there are 150,000 visits at least a year to the property, and a lot of those, quite frankly, are locals. This is going to benefit our regional community, but we do know that once the infrastructure is in place and we begin to really announce it broadly, we'll have a big influx of users from out of state.
Well, and this actually adds another component for horseback riding too, that
Right.
isn't necessarily facilitated right now.
Yeah, right now we do, we are open to horseback riding, but we don't have parking that is suitable for horse trailers. And this will, as you can see from the little diagram I included in your cut sheet, this will provide the opportunity for us to have designated horse trailer parking and an access from the parking area out to the horse corridor trail that is designated so they aren't crossing paths with, especially bike riders tend to swoop horses. So we're trying to be very thoughtful about all the different user groups.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll step back and let Bailey explain what the staff is thinking. I
Thank you,
apologize.
Sarah.
I also meant to mention that our board chair is in the room, Charlie DeWolf, and he's happy to answer questions as well.
So Sarah came to Tracy, Kayla, and I to help to look for this $400,000. We put our heads together and we thought of a few different funds that this money could come from. We thought $100,000 could come from the Economic Development Fund, which is the money that we're receiving from Pete Lean and the money we're also receiving from the Beach Street property. With the Economic Development Fund, we have two different accounts. One is specifically the Pete Lean revenue that's coming in, and the other one's for the Beach Street. So we'd split it 50-50. The other fund Tracy and Kayla brought up was the CSIP account. So, the what? CISP. Sorry. And that has 99,789.
99,781.
Yes.
It is capital improvement special projects. That's what it stands for.
Okay.
Then the other, there's the miscellaneous uncommitted has $100,000 in it that has not been used yet. We're thinking from there, $100,000 from there as well. And then the remaining would be budgeted in the FY26 budget.
And we could do that either through 1% or just however you guys want to do that. We could have Pilot Hill do an application for 1%.
Oh, okay.
Or direct aid.
Oh, I was gonna ask, so what,
The next biennium, we should get an additional, I think it's 2.7 million is where that is at. I think you're right, Tracy. Yeah, 2.706 million in direct aid should be coming in two tranches, August and January for fiscal year 26.
and you're comfortable with that?
And it's not going to deplete any. Okay.
Would you recommend the direct aid or the 1%, the funding come from? Is it 6 of one, half dozen the other?
Yes, very much so. It's 1%, so it's tied to sales tax, and we're not always guaranteed what kind of funding we're going to get through there. Our sales tax generally stays pretty steady in our county, though, so that I feel fairly comfortable with that. Direct aid, it's 100,000, give or take, depending on that 99,000 is just short of 100,000, obviously, but direct aid, we can't use it for any kind of personnel costs or those kind of things, and we generally supplement the general fund. We don't use the full amount by any means. We, take like specific budgets out of the general fund and use that money, like the auditor contract, fuel, utilities, some of those just operating process. As you know, more for you, Commissioner Hoff, as a new commissioner with us. But yeah, I feel in any place it would fit.
Okay.
Is there a way that you'd like to have it divvied up between all of them, or you just?
I think Bailey covered the ones that would be in this current fiscal year that we want to definitely commit, if we can, to the project, because I think Pilot Hill does need some form of commitment to move forward without having to phase from the get-go, correct? And then the 100,000, by the time the fiscal year laps around, they're going to be, deeper in the project than they are now, of course, because
Right.
can't do a lot of fun construction.
Not quite today anyway.
Yeah, no, you're not today. But the ground's a smidge froze.
So are we satisfied with this discussion?
Yeah, we discussed, I mean, it was really a recommendation to bring to you guys.
Okay.
And this is just discussion, so I don't know. I mean, the money's budgeted and it's not, it doesn't have to be amended or anything. You can just spend it for what you choose. So I'll list what we've listed, as a discussion piece in the agenda, but I don't know if you need formal action, if the commissioners just, I mean, maybe under the award piece, we can state that we're gonna take those funds from
Okay.
that, because being this just is the discussion piece.
Okay.
So I'd like to close
Mhm.
discussion.
I'd move to close the discussion on Pilot Hill.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 9, award the bid for Pilot Hill Trailhead Project to Arc-On Incorporated. Sarah.
Thank you, commissioners. Again, we did receive 2 bids for this project. One was from Ryman Corporation. One was from Arcon Corporation. The Ryman bid was over $400,000 higher than the Arcon bid. We've had a lot of confidence in Arcon to be able to do the job, and the grant or the contract would be through the county. So that gives us some leverage to make sure that we put into the contract any concerns that you might have in terms of making sure that the work is done expediently and professionally. But we are excited to have the opportunity to start building this trailhead this summer and hopefully have a celebration in the fall.
Thank you, Sarah.
I have a question. You did, and I believe you already mentioned it. You're gonna have someone from UW as the contract.
Yes, the
construction
University of
management.
Wyoming has a construction manager, Josh Decker, thank you, is serving as our construction manager. And he's been a
That's fine, just because
A
Jake's.
tremendous gift.
I move that we award the bid to the Pilot Hill Trail, the Pilot Hill Trail project to Arcon Inc. and direct the county to place $100,000 from the Economic Development Fund, $99,789 from CISP, $100,000 from miscellaneous uncommitted in fiscal year 25, and then put a placeholder in fiscal year 26 for $100,211, if my math is correct, to either be used from DA or 1% funding.
Second, nice job.
Yes, thank you. That was a great job. All those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Sarah.
Sarah, thank you, Charlie.
Good luck with the rest.
Thank you. Thank you, staff.
Item 10, present for approval Albany County Road Chip Seal Project for contractor bidding and direct the clerk to advertise. Hi, Jake.
Good morning, Sharon, Commissioners. This is for the County Road Chip Seal Project, and in the packet, you'll see for the bid, we've got all of these projects kind of line itemed out. And that is based on an evaluation that YT Squared, Wyoming Technology Transfer Committee, whatever they are, at the university does a condition assessment of all of the paved roads in the state. And so they kind of, it's a condition assessment that sort of implicates which roads are the worst condition, which roads kind of are the best. And our bid schedule starts out with the worst roads and goes on down to the best roads. So what we want to do is get the worst roads addressed first. And then until we spend about, out of the SPET funding, about $4 million plus or minus that number, on kind of awarding those projects down the line. And then we will award those to a contractor. That's our plan.
So does this and I just don't remember, this include Fallow and?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it includes every road in the county. It's just a matter, and I don't know where
Well, I
Powell
think that's
Lane,
up there a little.
it might be up high, and I don't exactly know where that lands on that.
Okay, that's
Condition
fine.
assessment, but it is on there.
Okay.
Every county road is on there, so,
That's the one I hear the most about.
yeah. And to follow Powell Lane up, we've got tighter specs this time than what we had last time. So we've got really strict temperature conditions where they can apply it and can't apply it. So hopefully we don't have a lot of rock chips flying off of the
Right.
road, and we have pretty steep LDs to encourage the contractor to finish it before it gets cold.
Perfect.
Could a contractor bid on half of it, Jake? I'm not saying they would or there'd be any interest in it, but could they bid on half of it and somebody else bid on the other half?
I mean, they could give us a bid for a couple items, but I don't know that they could. I
Okay.
guess that would be something that we would have to consider when we get there, because I expect only 2, maybe 3 companies to bid on it, because there's just not that many people who really specialize in asphalt paving, because we can only do it 3 or 4 months of the year. So it's a real limited amount of people who pursue these.
Thank you, Jake. Appreciate it.
I'll add one more thing on the, we used to be able to do all the chip seal, all of our paved roads at one time. But due to the increasing costs and stuff, that's changed. So we're kind of going on most need. So,
Improve the worst and.
yeah.
Thank you, Rob. Any other questions? If not, may I have a
Don't.
motion?
Yeah, I'd move that, we, hold on, I'm just on the right line. Approve or direct the clerk to advertise for the Albany County Road Chip Seal Project, for contractor bidding.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Jake.
Thanks, Rob.
Sorry, I was still looking for Paul.
That's okay. 11, present for approval quote from Dell Technologies for renewal of Microsoft's enterprise agreement in the amount not to exceed $73,130.67 per year with a 3-year commitment. Adam,
Hi,
good morning.
good morning. Thank you guys for having this back today. This is brought back before you as essentially the licensing changed midstream. Dell misquoted the original quote set, so they've made good on the pricing. But as the middle ground, we moved from the M365 package back to the undistributed O365 plus the enterprise security module. All in all, they're apples to apples in comparison. It's just the package was just a cleaner license distribution. It was a single license in our portal versus having to double license everyone for those utilizations. So that's what's before you today. And I just wanted to make that comparison.
Thank you. Any questions?
I don't, you think it's adequate, it's in the best interest of the county.
Yeah, so we'll carry the Exchange server license for 1 more year. So we look at that retirement this year and we'll see that go down. And then again, there's no difference in the package set. If we do look to, with the phones integrations and everything there, if we start down the line and find that Teams Phone is a good heavy fit, we would look to add that on. The big thing here was just getting us through the bare minimums that we needed to operate. They don't mind if we add on, but you can never remove from an EA. Can't work backwards. So we didn't want to make the commitment upright as we were currently still investigating all of the different players there. Those are the 2 things I see working and changing over the next 3 years in that retrospect.
And you'd be adding, instead of the Mitels, shifting it to a Teams.
It's one of the options, right? It's one of the, we're high level demos and integration points for all of the different major systems, as well as at least an on-prem system as well. So when you look at the scope and what we're looking to do over the 3 years, this is the base license package, and we can always add, like I said.
You approved the quote from Dell Technologies, excuse me. Were you?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Dell Technologies for renewal of the Microsoft Enterprise Agreement in amount not to exceed $73,130.67 per year with a 3-year commitment.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Adam. Item 12, present for approval renewal from Civic Plus for content management solution and website hosting in the amount not to exceed $11,686.07. Adam,
So this is a renewal estimate on the county website, right? So that is the content management solution. So that's the entire back end and the entire front end associated with the website, the form tools, the integration points, everything that goes into the website and operational there. When we get in and add a new widget, display sets, so on and so forth. And then the cost did jump slightly. This is something we've talked through over the last year. We added the custom authentication integration, right? So now we use county identity to get into the website. That has a carrying subscription cost. And then we did move it behind Cloudflare CDN as a security measure just after the elections there. So that is DDoS protection, that's upload file protection in an enhanced format. And so that took us from that 85 standpoint here to that 11.6 standpoint as we sit now. This will be year 2 of the 4-year recycling or redesign, right? That carries as a benefit every 4 years. So you're essentially privy to a full redesign, rebrand of the website. We've been through 1, we readjusted based on the feedback of the public and the commission and the website redesign team, and that's where we currently stand. Is there any questions for me?
Could this host a video, 30-second video, welcome to Albany County on the open page? Could it
Yeah, yes.
do that? Okay.
And that
We
people
also,
can skip if they want to.
we can add it into the slideshow. There's several different options, right? So that we don't bombard people, but give them the option if that's something of interest, right? So make it a navigational option, right? And then the other thing, we also sub-host the town of Rock River and the fairgrounds
So good.
underneath both of these and provide the SSLs and the redirection there. So that's why the general menus are the same.
Sounds good. And if there aren't any more questions, may I get a motion?
Sure. I move that we renew the Civics Plus for content management solutions and web hosting and approve not to exceed $11,686.07.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you guys for your consideration
Thank you
today.
very much. Item 13, present for approval grant agreement between the State of Wyoming Department of State Parks and Cultural Resources, State Historic Preservation Office, and Albany County Historic Preservation Board in the amount of $9,000 for the purpose of hosting a camp training. Bailey.
Morning, Commissioners. This is just an agreement from the grant application we submitted last fall. The agreements just came in last week, so.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, then I may have a motion, please.
I move to approve the grant agreement between the State of Wyoming Department of State Parks, Cultural Resources, State Historic Preservation Office, and Albany County Historic Preservation Board in the amount of $9,000 for the purpose of hosting a camp training.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 14, present for approval grant agreement between the State of Wyoming Department of State Parks and Cultural Resources, State Historic Preservation Office, and Albany County Historic Preservation Board in the amount of $18,800 for the purpose of completing the National Register of Historic Places district nomination for Lincoln Monument. Bailey.
This is the same thing. We submitted an application last fall. This is just that agreement that's coming in.
I have no questions.
There's no questions?
No, I'll move that we accept the grant agreement between the State of Wyoming Department of State Parks and Cultural Resources, State Historic Preservation Office, and the Albany County Historic Preservation Board in the amount of $18,800 for the purpose of completing the National Registry of Historic Places nomination for the Lincoln Monument.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 15, present for approval, assignment of resolution 2023-017 from 307 Horse Racing Incorporated to reflect the change in ownership structure to the 307 Horse Racing LLC as required by resolution 2023-017.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
So
morning,
this
Jennifer.
is the resolution that we have for 307 Horse Racing, which is where Coppers was on North Third, and they are changing ownership structure from the Inc. to LLC, and our resolution requires that we provide them notice of that. The change is already been approved by the Wyoming Gaming Commission. And I believe we have a representative. If you have any questions?
I don't,
Is the same basic leadership structure? It just changed the arrangement, the business arrangement, or has there been changes to the leadership?
So there will be no internal changes to leadership at all. It's mostly for tax purposes. Ironically enough, 307 Horse Racing was originally an LLC, and then we converted it to an Inc., and now we're converting it back to an LLC. But based on the language of, I believe it's 5 counties, including yours, we need written permission before we can do a transfer of any manner. So we've talked, as we just discussed, with basically every county we operate in, every liquor license authority we have a liquor license with, the AG's office, the liquor division, the governor's office, basically everybody. There's something like 15 governing bodies that have some sort of connection to our horse racing industry. And we do have a change of ownership much higher up as far as just a restructuring of all the different corporations goes. But as 307 Horse Racing Inc. is concerned, there's no change of management, no change in employees, ownership, anything. It is effectively a name change. If it was a less regulated entity, you know, if it was just Brent Roads LLC, I could file a paper with the Secretary of State and I would be in Inc. tomorrow and I would never have to talk to anybody about it. But just the uniqueness of the horse racing industry is something as easy as converting your entity from Inc. to an LLC requires, 15 county commissioner hearings, liquor hearings, and everything else. So that is effectively everything that's going on. And we would originally, we were going to just ask for some sort of oral motion, but based on the language of the resolution, it seems we have to have something in writing. How you guys want to handle that, how the commission wants to handle that, we're open to any suggestions. I wrote you guys a letter and provided just a quick written approval if that's what you're interested in signing. But as far as how we get this done with the nuts and bolts, I guess we're wide open. So,
And that written approval is included in your packet as well.
if there's any other questions.
Well, I move that we approve the assignment of resolution 2023-7017 from 307 Horse Racing Inc. to reflect the change in ownership structure to 307 Horse Racing LLC as required by resolution 2023-017.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 16, reappoint Jim Garson for Area 2 of the Albany County Weed and Pest Control District.
I move we reappoint Jim Carson for Area 2 for the Albany County Weed and Pest Control District.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Maybe next year Jim won't let the wind blow his stuff away. And that's what happened. Item 17, present for approval resolution 2025-006, a resolution transferring unencumbered or unexpended appropriation balances from one fund to another and amending the appropriations for fiscal year 2024-2025 budget of the Albany County, Wyoming.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I keep wanting to say Mr. Chairman, and it's not anymore. It's Miss Chairman. Chairman Jones, Madam Chair, thank you. I couldn't think of the
Yes.
word earlier and I was like, this is not coming to me.
Hey, whoever you are.
Thank you for bringing this forward. We have a budget amendment with some funds that, of course, we have to amend before we spend. We do have cash on hand. Tracy and I talked last week and the week before. We've been working on this for a little while, but we wanted to make sure we encompassed everything, of course, because we have to pay to advertise. So we want to make sure that we don't have to advertise more than once. But per this resolution, we would like to amend the 2024-2025 budget to take from the to increase the general fund for the EMA office. $10,000 of that came from Fire District 1. It was from an unanticipated revenue. That was the money that they got in for that. And then the 2,000 is just incidentals above that. The treasurer, $46,240 for their property tax refund program, which will come from cash on hand. The commissioners increase of $177,000, which will come from cash on hand as well for the solar project. The abandoned vehicle fund, as Tracy talked about at our legislative breakfast, we need to increase that by $50,000. We hope that that will be enough, but we don't know. So we're guesstimating, I think, probably better than anything. So a total of $285,240 to be adjusted to the county's 2024-2025 approved budget. Like I said, all of that will be coming from cash on hand, other than the $10,000 for EMA out of their unanticipated revenue. And I stand for any questions.
Any questions? There's no questions. We have a motion.
I move that we move the $285,240 for the adjustment of the 2024-2025 budget and approve as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 18, move into executive session pursuant to Wyoming statute 16-4-405A VII.
Madam Chair, I move that we leave regular session, enter executive session pursuant to Wyoming State Statute 16-4-405A, Roman numeral 7.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Move into executive session at 10:11. Okay. mute and
Yep.
start.
And then record probably too.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
section.
This one?
Yep. And
Record.
there you go.
Oh. Okay, we've come out of executive session at
Yeah, this is-
11:16. We have no action after the executive session. I need a motion to approve vouchers and payroll for January 2025.
I'll move that we accept the vouchers for the vouchers and payroll for January 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye, motion carries. May I have a motion to adjourn?
you do have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, and we'll be looking forward to seeing everybody the first Tuesday in February. Thank you.